The dining hall of the Valerian embassy buzzed with quiet tension. Ambassador Kyung-ho adjusted his formal jacket as he walked through the ornate doors. The walls glowed with soft blue light that made everything feel cold and distant. Behind him, Sunja carried her recording device while Dongmin scanned the room with careful eyes. "Welcome, honored humans," Chancellor Vextar said. His voice sounded like metal scraping against stone. The tall Valerian leader stood near a table covered with strange dishes. His skin was pale gray, and his eyes were completely black. He smiled. His teeth looked sharp. Kyung-ho bowed slightly. "Thank you for inviting us, Chancellor. We hope today brings good results for both our peoples." The other Valerians in the room watched silently. There were 12 of them, all dressed in dark robes. Their faces showed no emotion, but Kyung-ho could feel their stares. Something felt wrong, but he could not point to what it was. "Please, sit," Vextar said. He pointed to chairs that looked too tall for humans. "We have prepared our finest foods for this special meeting," Sunja whispered to Kyung-ho as they sat down. "The translation software is working fine, but their body language seems odd." Dongmin positioned himself where he could see the whole room. His hand stayed close to his weapon, though he tried to look relaxed. "Too many guards for a simple dinner," he muttered under his breath. The first course arrived on floating platforms. The food looked beautiful, but strange. Purple liquids in crystal bowls, green cubes that seemed to move on their own, silver strips that smelled like flowers mixed with metal. "This is kelp moss from our ocean worlds," Vextar explained. "And here we have mountain crystals from Vel Prime, very rare and very expensive." Kyung-ho tried each dish politely. Some tasted good, others made his mouth feel numb. Sunja took careful notes about everything they ate. The Valerians watched each bite with interest that seemed too intense. "Your foods are very unique," Kyung-ho said. "Human taste is probably different from yours, but we appreciate the effort you made." "Oh, we studied human preferences very carefully," said another Valerian named Kolven. His smile looked hungry. "We wanted everything to be perfect for you." The second course came with more ceremony. The Valerians stood up and began speaking in their own language. The translation device caught some words about honor and respect and special guests. "They are blessing the food," Sunja explained quietly. "But some of these phrases are not in my database." Dongmin shifted in his chair. The Valerian guards had moved closer to the walls. It looked like they were blocking the exits, but they did it so smoothly that it might have been an accident. More dishes arrived. These looked even stranger than before. One bowl contained what looked like small black pearls that popped when touched. Another held strips of meat that changed color in the light. The smells were stronger now, mixing sweet and bitter in ways that made Kyung-ho's nose wrinkle. "Please, try the void berries," Vextar said. He pointed to the black pearls. "They grow only in the deep space between our moons. Very difficult to harvest." Kyung-ho ate one. It tasted like electricity and made his tongue tingle. The Valerians leaned forward slightly, watching his face with careful attention. "Interesting flavor," he said honestly. "Very intense." Some of the Valerians looked at each other with quick glances. Vextar's smile seemed to get bigger. The conversation continued through the meal, but it felt forced. The Valerians asked many questions about human biology and health. They wanted to know about human medicine and what foods made humans sick. Kyung-ho answered politely, but Sunja noticed the pattern. "They are very interested in our physical weaknesses," she wrote in her notes. As the main course ended, the Valerians became more excited. They whispered to each other in their own language. The translation device could only catch fragments. Words like final and perfect and test. "Now comes the greatest honor we can offer," Vextar announced. He stood up and clapped his hands twice. "We present the thornspine fruit, A single Valerian entered carrying a silver box. Inside the box, nestled in soft cloth, sat one piece of fruit. It was beautiful and terrible at the same time. The fruit was deep purple with silver lines running through it. It looked like a jewel that had grown on a tree. The thorn spine grows on only one world in our empire, Vextar explained. The soil there is blessed by our ancestors. The fruit takes 50 years to ripen. We share it only with those we consider true friends. The other Valerians nodded solemnly, their black eyes fixed on Kyung-ho with an intensity that made him uncomfortable. "This is a great honor," Kyung-ho said. "Are you sure we deserve such a precious gift?" "Oh yes," Vextar said. His voice sounded different now, darker somehow. "You deserve exactly this." Soon-ja felt her stomach turn cold. Something in the Chancellor's tone set off every alarm in her head. She looked at Dongmin, who was already reaching for his weapon. "Please," Vextar continued, "you must eat it now while we watch. The thorn spine must be consumed fresh, or it loses its power." The fruit was placed in front of Kyung-ho. Up close, he could see it was even more beautiful. The purple skin seemed to glow with inner light. The silver lines pulsed like veins. It smelled like honey mixed with something he could not identify. "All of it?" Kyung-ho asked. "Every piece," Vextar confirmed. "That is our tradition." Kyung-ho looked at his companions. Soon-ja's face was pale with worry. Dongmin had his hand on his weapon now, not caring who saw it. But refusing the fruit would insult their hosts and probably end the peace talks. "Very well," Kyung-ho said. He picked up the fruit. The Valerians held their breath. Some of them started counting quietly in their own language. Others watched with wide eyes that reflected the blue light of the room. Kyung-ho bit into the thorn spine fruit. The taste exploded across his tongue. It was sweet and bitter and complex in ways no earth fruit had ever been. Juice ran down his chin. The flesh was soft, but had a strange texture that seemed to dissolve and reform as he chewed. The Valerians leaned forward. Vextar began counting under his breath. 5 seconds. 10 seconds. 15. Kyung-ho took another bite, and another. The fruit really was delicious, despite its strange qualities. He found himself genuinely enjoying it. 20 seconds. 25. Vextar continued counting, but his voice was becoming uncertain. "This is excellent," Kyung-ho said between bites. "The flavor is unlike anything I have tasted before, very complex." The Valerians began looking at each other with confusion. Some of them started whispering urgently. 30 seconds. 45. Vextar's counting became slower and more confused. Kyung-ho finished the entire fruit and wiped his mouth with his napkin. "That was wonderful," he said sincerely. "Do you have more? I would love to take some back to my ship for the crew to try." The silence in the room was complete. Every Valerian stared at the human ambassador with growing shock and fear. Vextar's mouth fell open. "You want more?" "If possible, yes," Kyung-ho replied. "Does it grow in different varieties? I would be very interested in learning about Valerian agriculture." The Chancellor looked like he had seen a ghost. The medical bay aboard the human ship Resilience hummed with activity. Dr. Haewon moved quickly between her scanning devices, checking readings that made no sense. Ambassador Kyung-ho sat calmly on the examination table, looking completely healthy, despite eating what should have killed him 3 hours ago. "How do you feel?" Dr. Haewon asked for the 5th time. Her hands shook slightly as she adjusted the medical scanner. "Excellent," Kyung-ho replied. "Better than I have felt in weeks, actually." That fruit was quite refreshing. Soon-ja paced back and forth near the door. Her recording device captured everything while she monitored communications from the Valerian ships. "Doctor, the Valerians are going crazy out there. They keep sending messages asking about your condition." "What kind of messages?" Dr. Haewon asked without looking away from her screens. "Urgent requests for medical updates. Demands to know what treatments we are using. Some of them sound almost panicked." Dongmin stood guard by the medical bay entrance. His weapon was ready. Now, no longer hidden. Their ship movements have changed too. 3 more Valerian vessels just arrived in the system. They are positioning themselves around us. Dr. HFY frowned at her readings. Your liver function is completely normal. In fact, it is working better than normal. Your blood shows no signs of toxins or poison. The only unusual thing is elevated levels of vitamin compounds I have never seen before. Vitamin compounds? Kyung-ho asked. The thorn spine fruit seems to have been processed by your body like a very healthy snack. Your liver broke down whatever chemicals were in it and turned them into nutrients. Captain Ju Hyuk entered the medical bay, his face serious. Doctor, I need a full report immediately. The Valerians are demanding to speak with our medical officer. They claim we are hiding something from them. Hiding what? Dr. HFY asked. The ambassador is perfectly healthy. There is nothing to hide. That seems to be exactly what is frightening them, Captain Ju Hyuk said. He looked at the medical readings on the screens. They keep insisting that what he ate should have killed him within minutes. Soon-ja stopped pacing. Captain, I have been analyzing their communications. The Valerians are not just confused. They are terrified. Some of their messages use words that translate as impossible and unnatural. Dr. HFY pulled up detailed scans of Kyung-ho's internal organs. Look at this. His liver is processing compounds that I cannot even identify. But instead of being damaged, it seems to be functioning at peak efficiency. What does that mean? Captain Ju Hyuk asked. It means human biology is far more adaptable than anyone realized, including us, Dr. HFY explained. The ambassador's body treated a deadly alien poison like medicine. Kyung-ho stretched and stood up from the examination table. I really do feel wonderful. That fruit had an amazing flavor. Do we have any way to grow more of them? The others stared at him in disbelief. You want to eat more of the fruit that was supposed to kill you? Soon-ja asked. Why not? If it makes me feel this good and provides nutrients, it might be valuable for human colonies. We should study it. Dr. HFY ran another scan. Ambassador, your energy levels are 20% higher than your baseline. Your immune system is more active. Even your reflexes have improved slightly. Captain Ju Hyuk activated his communication device. This is Captain Ju Hyuk to Valerian Chancellor Vextar. Our medical examination is complete. Ambassador Kyung-ho is in perfect health. The reply came immediately, full of static that suggested the sender was very upset. Impossible. The thorn spine kills all oxygen-breathing life forms within minutes. Your medical equipment must be malfunctioning. Our equipment is working correctly, Captain Ju Hyuk replied calmly. Perhaps we should exchange medical data to help solve this mystery. There is no mystery. Vextar's voice cracked through the speakers. Your ambassador should be dead. What kind of creatures are you humans? Dr. HFY looked thoughtful. Captain, may I suggest something? Let me run a full genetic analysis on the ambassador. I want to understand exactly how his body processed that fruit. Do it, Captain Ju Hyuk ordered. While Dr. HFY worked, Soon-ja continued monitoring Valerian communications. Captain, they are sending emergency messages to their home worlds. Something about biological weapon failure and unknown human capabilities. Dongmin checked his security readings. More ships are jumping into the system. The Valerian fleet is now 12 vessels strong. They are maintaining distance, but staying in attack formations. They are scared, Kyung-ho observed. They tried to kill me with their most reliable poison, and not only did it fail, but it made me healthier. Dr. HFY's genetic scanner beeped. Results are ready. She pulled up a complex display of molecular structures. This is fascinating. Ambassador, your liver contains enzymes that I have never seen in human biology textbooks. What kind of enzymes? Captain Ju Hyuk asked. Ones that can break down almost any organic compound and extract useful nutrients from them. Your body treated the thornspine toxins like raw materials for vitamins and energy compounds. Sunja looked up from her communication device. Doctor, that might explain something. I have been researching human evolutionary history. Earth had many periods when our ancestors had to eat whatever they could find to survive. Poisonous plants, rotting meat, anything that provided calories. You think humans evolved to handle toxins? Dr. Haywan asked. Think about it. Humans eat capsaicin for fun. That compound causes pain responses in most species. We drink ethyl alcohol as entertainment. That substance is toxic to many alien races. We consume caffeine to stay alert. Other species use similar compounds as pesticides. Captain Ju-hyuk nodded slowly. We never thought of those things as unusual because they are normal to us. Dr. Haywan ran more detailed scans. The genetic analysis shows extensive adaptation in multiple organ systems. Your kidneys can filter out compounds that would overload most biological systems. Your stomach produces acids that can break down almost anything organic. Your liver can process toxins that would shut down other species completely. So humans are basically immune to biological weapons? Dongmin asked. Not immune, but incredibly resistant, Dr. Haywan corrected. Ambassador Kyung-ho's body turned their perfect poison into health supplements. Sunja received another urgent message. Captain, Chancellor Vextar is demanding to know what genetic modifications humans have made to themselves. Tell him we are completely natural, Captain Ju-hyuk said. Earthborn humans with no artificial enhancements. He will not believe that, Sunja warned. Then offer to provide complete medical records for our entire crew, full genetic scans, complete biological profiles. We have nothing to hide. Kyung-ho smiled. In fact, offer to let their medical team examine me directly. If they want to understand human biology, transparency is the best approach. Dr. Haywan finished her final scans. Ambassador, I want to keep monitoring you for the next few days. But based on current readings, the thornspine fruit actually improved your health in measurable ways. Excellent, Kyung-ho said. When we return to Earth, I will recommend that agricultural scientists study this fruit for possible cultivation. Captain Ju-hyuk opened a communication channel to the Valerian fleet. Chancellor Vextar, this is Captain Ju-hyuk. We propose a joint medical research project. Our species clearly have much to learn from each other. The long pause before Vextar's reply spoke volumes. You want to study the thornspine fruit? The Chancellor finally asked, his voice barely controlled. Among other things, yes, Ambassador Kyung-ho found it quite delicious. Another long pause. This conversation is not over, Vextar said, and cut the communication. Dr. Haywan looked at her readings one more time. Whatever happens next, we have learned something incredible about human biology today. The research facility on moonbase Keth Prime buzzed with desperate activity. Scientist Kelnos stared at the data streams flowing across her screens, each one showing results that challenged everything she thought she knew about biology. Run. The simulation again, she ordered her assistant, Morkith. There must be an error in our calculations. I have run it 17 times, Scientist Kelnos, Morkith replied. The results are always the same. Human biology processes thornspine, alkaloids as beneficial compounds. Kelnos slammed her fist against the console. The sound echoed through the sterile laboratory. Around her, other Valerian scientists worked frantically, trying to understand how their most reliable biological weapon had become a health supplement. Show me the human genetic samples again, she demanded. The holographic display materialized above her desk. The human DNA structure rotated slowly, highlighting the specific sequences that controlled liver and kidney function. What she saw there made her feel sick with fear. Their liver genes are completely different from every other known species, she said to herself. How is this possible? Morketh pulled up comparison charts. Look at this, scientist. Humans can process ethyl alcohol without dying. Most species would go into toxic shock from the amounts they consume regularly. What about capsaicin compounds? Kelnos asked. They eat them for entertainment. The chemical that triggers pain responses in our nervous systems is what they call spicy food. Kelnos felt her legs grow weak. She sat down heavily in her chair. What kind of evolutionary nightmare created these creatures? The laboratory door slid open. High Commander Zefral entered, his military uniform crisp and his face hard with anger. Scientist Kelnos, I need answers immediately. Our biological warfare division is in complete chaos. Commander, the humans are not what we thought they were, Kelnos said quietly. Explain. Kelnos activated the main display screen. Images of human biology filled the room. Their homeworld, Earth, subjected them to millions of years of environmental toxins, ice ages, volcanic eruptions, poisonous plants, deadly bacteria. Their species survived by developing the ability to process almost any organic compound. Are you telling me they are immune to biological weapons? Zefral's voice was dangerously quiet. Not immune, but incredibly resistant. Commander, they evolved on what they call a death world. Everything there tried to kill them for millions of years. Their bodies learned to turn poisons into nutrients. Zefral studied the genetic charts with growing horror. What about our other weapons? Nerve toxins, acidic compounds, radioactive materials? Morketh pulled up additional data. Sir, human, miners regularly work in environments that would kill us within hours. They have natural resistance to radiation levels that we consider lethal. Their immune systems can adapt to biological threats faster than any species we have studied. This is impossible, Zefral said. No species can be this adaptable. Kelnos highlighted specific genetic sequences. Commander, look at their DNA repair mechanisms. Humans can heal from injuries that would permanently disable us. They can survive in temperature ranges that span what we consider multiple climate zones. They even heal broken bones stronger than they were before. The room fell silent except for the humming of the computers. How many humans are there? Zefral asked finally. Approximately 8 billion on their homeworld alone, Morketh replied. Colonies on 47 worlds and growing rapidly. Zefral sat down heavily. 8 billion creatures that can survive our best biological weapons and treat them as medicine. Meanwhile, aboard the Resilience, Sunja continued her analysis of Valerian communications. The intercepted messages painted a picture of complete panic spreading through their military command structure. Captain Ju-hyuk, she called from her communication station. The Valerians are requesting emergency conferences with their High Council. The messages I am intercepting use words like evolutionary impossibility and biological nightmare. Captain Ju-hyuk reviewed the reports from Dr. Hae-won. They tried to kill our ambassador with their most deadly weapon, and instead they gave him vitamins. I can understand their confusion. Dong-min monitored the Valerian fleet movements. Captain, 3 more ships just arrived. They are maintaining defensive positions, but their weapons are powered down. It looks like they are more afraid of us than aggressive. Good, Captain Ju-hyuk said. Fear can lead to understanding if we handle this correctly. Dr. Hae-won joined them on the bridge, carrying her latest medical reports. Captain, I have been analyzing the thorn-spine fruit samples. The compounds that should have killed the ambassador are similar to alkaloids found in common earth plants. Which plants? Sunja asked. Coffee beans, tea leaves, cocoa plants, tobacco. Humans have been consuming similar compounds for thousands of years. No wonder his body knew how to process them. Back on Keth Prime, Kelnos made another disturbing discovery. She accessed the human information networks that were freely available to diplomatic missions. Morketh, look at this, she said, her voice shaking. Human historical records show they used to eat plants that killed other animals just to survive famines. What do you mean? During food shortages, they would eat tree bark, grass, roots that were toxic to other species. Their bodies learned to extract nutrients from anything organic. Morketh examined the data. Scientist, some of these substances would kill us instantly. That is not the worst part, Kelnos continued. Look at their recreational activities. The screen showed images of humans engaged in various activities, mountain climbing in thin air that would suffocate most species, swimming in water cold enough to stop alien hearts, running distances that would exhaust other races. They do these things for fun, Kelnos whispered. High Commander Zephrol received an urgent communication from Chancellor Vextar. Commander, the humans have offered to provide complete biological and genetic data for their entire crew. They want full transparency. That could be useful for our research, Zephrol replied. Commander, I do not think you understand. They are not offering this information so we can find ways to hurt them. They genuinely want to help us understand their biology. They see our failed assassination attempt as an opportunity for scientific cooperation. Zephrol felt cold fear settle in his stomach. What kind of species treats a murder attempt as a chance to make friends? The kind that evolved by turning every threat into an advantage, Vextar replied. On the resilience, Ambassador Kyung-ho felt better than he had in months. The thorn-spine fruit had not only failed to kill him, but had provided him with energy and nutrients his body craved. Dr. Haywan, he said, I would like to request that you send a message to Earth's agricultural research stations. If we can cultivate thorn-spine fruit, it might be beneficial for human health. You want to turn their assassination weapon into a health food? Dr. Haywan asked in amazement. Why not? It tastes good and makes me feel great. The Valerians might even profit from selling it to human colonies. Sunja looked up from her communication console. Ambassador, the Valerians just sent a message asking if we are serious about scientific cooperation. Tell them yes, Kyung-ho replied without hesitation. Also tell them I would be happy to try more of their foods if they are interested in seeing how human biology responds to different compounds. The message went out across space to the Valerian fleet. On Keth Prime, Kelnos received the transmission and stared at it in disbelief. The human wants to eat more of our poisonous foods, she told Zephrol. For science? The commander asked. For science. And because he enjoyed the taste. Zephrol sat in silence for a long moment. Scientist Kelnos, I think we need to completely reconsider our approach to humanity. Yes, Commander. These creatures do not respond to threats the way other species do. No, Zephrol agreed. They turn our threats into opportunities, our weapons into medicine, our attempts to kill them into reasons to be friends. The investigation was revealing more than just human biology. It was showing the Valerians that they faced a species unlike anything in their experience. A species that could not be intimidated, could not be poisoned, and could not be defeated through conventional means. More importantly, it was a species that responded to hostility with curiosity and attempts at murder with offers of friendship. The Valerians were beginning to realize they had made a terrible mistake. The command bridge of the Valerian capital ship Dominion felt like a tomb. Chancellor Vextar stood before the massive view screen, watching the human ship Resilience floating peacefully in space. Behind him, his military council argued in whispers that grew more desperate by the hour. Chancellor, High Commander Zephrol said, we must strike now with kinetic weapons. If biological warfare will not work against humans, we still have conventional firepower. And then what? Intelligence. Director Colvin asked sharply. Do you understand what we learned today? These humans are not like other species. They do not respond to threats with fear. They are still made of flesh, military advisor Techmore argued. Plasma weapons will kill them just as easily as any other species. Vextar continued staring at the human ship. Will they? Yesterday, I was certain that Thornspine would kill any oxygen-breathing creature within minutes. Today I watched a human eat our deadliest poison and ask for more. The bridge fell silent. Every Valerian present had read the reports from Keth Prime. The humans were not just resistant to their biological weapons, they were completely immune to toxins that had killed entire enemy populations in previous wars. "Show me the human historical data again," Vextar ordered. The main screen changed to display information downloaded from human communication networks. Images of Earth appeared, showing a blue and green world that looked beautiful from space. But the data told a different story. Multiple ice ages lasting thousands of years, Colvan read from his report. Massive volcanic eruptions that blocked sunlight for decades. Asteroid impacts that destroyed most life on the planet. Humans survived all of these events. That could be explained by technology, Techmore insisted. Not when they happened millions of years ago, Colvan replied. The humans evolved during these catastrophes. Their biology adapted to survive in conditions that would wipe out most species. Zephrau pulled up military analysis charts. According to our intelligence, humans regularly consume substances that are toxic to us. Ethyl alcohol, caffeine compounds, capsaicin. They use these poisons as recreational drugs. The Thornspine incident makes more sense now, Vextar said quietly. We tried to poison a species that drinks poison for fun. Communication officer. Nalseth received an urgent message. Chancellor, we are receiving a transmission from the human ship. Put it through. Captain Juhyuk's voice filled the bridge, calm and professional. Chancellor Vextar, this is Captain Juhyuk of the Resilience. We would like to propose a joint research mission. What kind of research? Vextar asked carefully. Ambassador, Kyung-ho has expressed interest in studying Valerian agriculture, particularly your exotic fruits. Our agricultural scientists believe some of your crops might be valuable for human nutrition. The Valerian Command Council looked at each other, in disbelief. You want to cultivate thornspine fruit? Vextar asked. If possible, yes. The ambassador found it quite beneficial to his health. We think it could be profitable for both our species. After Captain Juhyuk closed the communication, the bridge remained silent for several minutes. They want to turn our assassination weapon into a cash crop, Zephrau said finally. This is exactly what I was afraid of, Colvan said. Humans do not think like other species. We try to kill them and they see business opportunities. Vextar activated his personal communication device. Get me a direct channel to the Valerian High Council on the homeworld. While they waited for the connection, Colvan pulled up more human historical data. Chancellor, there is something else you need to see. The screen showed human military conflicts throughout their history. Battles fought in conditions that would kill Valerian soldiers before they could even engage the enemy. Wars conducted in frozen wastelands, burning deserts, and toxic swamps. Look at this battle, Colvan said, highlighting a specific conflict. Human soldiers fought for months in muddy trenches filled with poisonous gas, diseases, and rotting corpses. They called it World War I. Millions of humans died, but millions more survived conditions that would exterminate our entire species. What is your point? Techmore asked. My point is that humans are not just resistant to our biological weapons, they are resistant to everything. Cold, heat, poison, disease, radiation. They evolved to survive on a planet that tried to kill them every single day. The communication link to the Valerian homeworld activated. High Counselor Kex Prime appeared on the screen, her ancient face showing concern. Chancellor Vextar, we received your emergency reports. Is it true that the humans survived thornspine poisoning? Yes, High Counselor. Not only survived, but thrived. The human ambassador's health actually improved after eating an entire fruit. That is impossible. That is what I thought. But our best scientists have confirmed it. Humans can process our deadliest toxins as beneficial nutrients. High Counselor Kex Prime was quiet for a long moment. Chancellor, what do you recommend? Before Vextar could answer, Colvan interrupted. High Counselor, there is more. The humans have offered complete transparency about their biology. They want to share medical data and genetic information. They are treating our assassination attempt as an opportunity for scientific cooperation. They are not angry that we tried to kill their ambassador? They do not seem to understand that we tried to kill him, Vextar admitted. They think we were being generous hosts offering exotic food. Or, Zephrol said grimly, they understand exactly what we tried to do, and they are choosing to ignore it because they see greater advantages in friendship than in war. High Counselor Kex Prime studied the reports from her own screen. How many humans are there in total? 8 billion on their homeworld, growing colonies throughout the local sector. Their population expansion rate is faster than any species we have encountered. 8 billion creatures that can survive thorn spine poisoning, the High Counselor repeated slowly. What are our military options? Zephrol reluctantly provided his analysis. Limited, High Counselor. If biological weapons are ineffective, we would have to rely on kinetic bombardment, but human colonies are spread across nearly 50 worlds now. Even if we could destroy their main populations, the survivors would adapt and rebuild. Based on their evolutionary history, they might actually become stronger after surviving our attacks, Colven added. That appears to be their species' primary survival strategy. High Counselor Kex Prime looked tired. What do the humans want from us? Vextar checked his latest communications. Scientific cooperation, cultural exchange, trade agreements. They want to buy our fruit that we tried to use to kill them. They want to buy thornspine fruit? For cultivation on human agricultural worlds, they think it will be profitable. So they would turn our deadliest biological weapon into a consumer product? Yes, High Counselor. The elderly Valerian leader sat in silence for several minutes while her council waited. Chancellor Vextar, she finally said, I want you to accept their offer of scientific cooperation. High Counselor? Techmore protested. We cannot show weakness to these creatures. Military advisor, we already tried to show strength. We tried to assassinate their ambassador with our most reliable weapon. Not only did we fail, but we accidentally gave him health supplements and inspired him to start a new agricultural venture. Zephrol looked confused. What are you saying, High Counselor? I am saying that humans respond to hostility by turning it into friendship and business opportunities. Traditional military approaches clearly do not work against such a species. Vextar began to understand. You think we should try cooperation instead of confrontation? I think we should learn everything we can about these impossible creatures before we make any more mistakes. And if they want to turn our weapons into profitable crops, perhaps we should consider the economic opportunities. Colven pulled up trade projections. High Counselor, if humans can cultivate thornspine fruit successfully, the market potential could be enormous. Their population growth rate suggests massive demand for new food sources. So our failed assassination weapon becomes an export commodity. Vextar said with dark humor. Chancellor, send a message to the humans, High Counselor Kex Prime ordered. Tell them we accept their proposal for joint research, but I want full monitoring of their biological capabilities. We need to understand what we are dealing with. Yes, High Counselor. As the communication ended, Vextar looked at his command council. Prepare a diplomatic team for cultural exchange, and get our agricultural scientists ready to discuss thornspine cultivation with humans who can eat our deadliest poison like candy. The Valerian crisis was becoming a Valerian opportunity, but none of them were entirely comfortable with creatures who smiled and asked for seconds when served deadly fruit. The joint research station floated in neutral space between the human and Valerian fleets. Dr. Haywan walked through the connecting corridor that linked the human and alien sections of the facility. The walls hummed with translation devices, working overtime to help two very different species understand each other. The atmospheric mixture is comfortable for both our species, Valerian scientist Kelnos said as they entered the main laboratory. We can work together without breathing apparatus. Excellent. Dr. Hae-won replied. I brought complete medical scans of Ambassador Kyung-ho and genetic samples from 12 other humans for comparison. Kelnos activated the holographic displays. We have prepared samples of 47 different compounds that we consider toxic to organic life. With your permission, we would like to test human responses under controlled conditions. Dr. Hae-won studied the list of substances. Some of these look similar to compounds we use in human medicine. This one appears to be related to digitalis, which we extract from foxglove plants for heart treatments. Foxglove is deadly to most species, Kelnos said with surprise. Deadly to humans, too, in large amounts. But in proper doses, it helps heart conditions. We learned to use many toxic plants as medicine thousands of years ago. The two scientists began their work with careful enthusiasm. Each test revealed new impossibilities about human biology that challenged Valerian understanding of life itself. Ambassador Kyung-ho volunteered for the first round of controlled testing. He sat calmly in the medical chair while sensors monitored every aspect of his physiology. This compound is extracted from Valerian deep-sea plants, Kelnos explained. It causes immediate nervous system failure in every species we have tested. Dr. Hae-won administered a tiny amount under careful supervision. Within minutes, Kyung-ho's readings showed increased alertness and improved reflexes. I feel very awake, he reported. Similar to drinking strong coffee, but more pleasant. Kelnos stared at her instruments in disbelief. Your nervous system is using our neurotoxin as a stimulant. What is coffee? She asked Dr. Hae-won. A beverage humans make from ground plant seeds that contain caffeine. We drink it to stay alert and focused. Most humans consume it daily. You mean you regularly ingest nervous system stimulants for recreational purposes? Well, yes. Also, tea, chocolate, energy drinks. Many human foods contain compounds that affect brain function. Meanwhile, Soonja worked with Valerian cultural analyst Jix Cole to understand the broader implications of their discoveries. The communication center buzzed with translated conversations between human and alien researchers. Your species' relationship with danger is unlike anything in our databases, Jix Cole said. Most intelligent life forms develop technology to avoid environmental threats. Humans seem to have developed biology to survive them instead. Soonja pulled up Earth historical records. We did develop technology eventually, but for millions of years, our bodies had to adapt or die. Every generation that survived passed on genes that were better at handling toxins, temperature extremes, and physical stress. Show me examples of human physical adaptation, Jix Cole requested. The screens displayed images of humans in various extreme environments. Arctic researchers working in temperatures that would freeze Valerian blood. Desert explorers crossing. Sand dunes hot enough to cook most alien tissue. Deep sea divers withstanding pressure that would crush Valerian bodies. These are normal human activities? Jix Cole asked. Some humans choose extreme environments as careers or hobbies. Our bodies can adapt to altitude changes, temperature variations, and physical challenges that would kill less adaptable species. Dr. Hae-won and Kelnos continued their testing with increasingly dramatic results. Each Valerian toxin was processed by Kyung-ho's biology in unexpected ways. This compound attacks DNA repair mechanisms, Kelnos said as she prepared the next test. It should cause immediate cellular breakdown. 20 minutes later, Kyung-ho's cellular regeneration rate had actually increased by 15%. Your DNA repair systems are using our genetic weapon as raw materials for improved healing, Kelnos reported, her voice barely steady. Dr. Hae-won checked the genetic analysis. Ambassador, your body is treating alien toxins like vitamin supplements. This is unprecedented in human medical science. I feel fantastic, Kyung-ho said honestly. Better than I have felt in years. Are there more compounds we can test? Kelnos looked at Dr. Hae-won with growing fear and fascination. Doctor, we need to discuss something important. These results suggest that humans are not just resistant to our biological weapons. You are immune to biological warfare in general. What do you mean? Every compound we consider lethal to organic life has been processed by Ambassador Kyung-ho's body as beneficial nutrients. This suggests that human evolution has created universal biological resistance. Dr. Hae-won pulled up comparative genetic analyses. Kelnos, look at human liver enzyme diversity. We have genetic codes for processing thousands of different organic compounds. Most of these genes developed during periods when humans had to eat whatever they could find to survive. You mean your species learned to eat poison during food shortages? Tree bark, grass, roots, berries that killed other animals. During famines, humans who could extract nutrients from toxic plants survived while others died. After millions of years, we developed the ability to process almost any organic material. Soonja joined them in the laboratory, carrying reports from the cultural exchange sessions. Dr. Hae-won, the Valerians are having trouble understanding human psychology as well as human biology. What kind of trouble? They cannot comprehend why Ambassador Kyung-ho is not angry about their assassination attempt. Their cultural analysts think humans might lack normal emotional responses to threats. Kyung-ho laughed. I understand they tried to kill me, but they failed so completely that I cannot help being impressed by human biology. Besides, their fruit was delicious. Kelnos shook her head. Ambassador, most species would declare war over attempted assassination. You want to start a fruit importing business. Why waste energy on anger when we can create opportunities for mutual benefit? If your people can grow food that improves human health, both our species profit. This is what confuses us, Kelnos admitted. Humans respond to hostility with friendship. You turn weapons into business ventures. You treat assassination attempts as scientific experiments. Dr. Hae-won considered this. Kelnos, human history includes many periods when cooperation was more successful than conflict. We learned that former enemies often make the best allies because they understand each other's capabilities. Soonja pulled up historical examples. Some of humanity's strongest partnerships began with conflict. Former enemies who learned to respect each other's strengths often created powerful alliances. So you see our failed attempt to kill your ambassador as a reason to become allies? Jix-Cole asked. We see it as proof that war between our species would be pointless, Kyung-ho replied. You cannot kill us with biological weapons. We probably cannot intimidate you with conventional threats. So why not focus on what we can accomplish together? Kelnos completed her final analysis of the test results. Dr. Hae-won, I must report something that will concern my government. Based on today's testing, humans appear to be biologically immune to every form of warfare except direct physical destruction. Is that a problem? It means that any species attempting to conquer or control humans would have to resort to complete annihilation. There is no way to weaken your people through environmental warfare, biological attacks, or psychological pressure. Dr. Hae-won nodded. But it also means we have no interest in conquering other species through those methods either. Human expansion focuses on finding new worlds to live on, not destroying existing populations. Why not? Because cooperation produces better results than conquest. We learned that lesson through thousands of years of internal conflicts. Working together accomplishes more than fighting. Soonja received an urgent communication from Captain Ju Hyuk. Ambassador, the Valerian High Council wants to speak with you directly. They have questions about human intentions in this sector. Kyung-ho stood up from the medical chair, feeling better than he had felt in months thanks to the Valerian toxins that had improved his health. Tell them I am ready to talk, and ask if they have more of those fruits available. I would like to bring some back to Earth. Kelnos stared at him in amazement. Ambassador, you just survived lethal doses of 47 different poisons, and you want to eat more alien fruit? The testing showed they are good for me. Why would I not want more? Because they were designed to kill you? But they failed to kill me and made me healthier instead. So now they are just exotic health food. Kelnos turned to Dr. Haywan. Is he typical of human thinking? Completely typical. Humans have always been good at turning problems into advantages. The revelation was complete. Humans were not just biologically immune to Valerian weapons, they were psychologically immune to Valerian thinking. They responded to every threat by finding ways to benefit from it. The Valerians were beginning to understand that they had encountered a species unlike any other in the galaxy, a species that could not be killed, could not be intimidated, and could not be predicted. But perhaps most importantly, they were a species that preferred cooperation to conquest and turned former enemies into friends. 6 months later, the Valerian embassy looked completely different. The cold blue lighting had been replaced with warmer tones that both species found comfortable. Human and Valerian diplomats worked side by side in offices that buzzed with productive cooperation instead of hidden tension. Ambassador Kyung-ho walked through the embassy gardens where thorn-spine trees grew in specially designed greenhouses. The purple fruit hung heavy on the branches, ready for harvest. He smiled as he remembered the first time he had tasted the fruit that was meant to kill him. The agricultural project is exceeding all expectations, Sunja reported as she joined him in the garden. Human colonies are requesting seed shipments for 12 different worlds. The Valerian Confederation is earning more profit from fruit exports than they made from weapons sales. Excellent news, Kyung-ho replied. And how are the cultural exchange programs developing? Beyond our hopes. Valerian scientists are fascinated by human biology. Human researchers are amazed by Valerian biotechnology. Both sides are learning things that will benefit everyone. Dr. Haywan emerged from the research wing of the embassy, carrying data tablets filled with joint research findings. Ambassador, we just completed analysis of the latest Valerian compounds. 3 more substances that they considered deadly toxins turned out to be beneficial to human health. Any interesting applications? Kyung-ho asked. One appears to improve human immune system function. Another enhances mental focus without the side effects of caffeine. The third one actually helps human bones heal faster and stronger. Sunja laughed. So the Valerians accidentally created 3 new human health supplements while trying to develop biological weapons? That seems to be the pattern, Dr. Haywan agreed. Everything they designed to hurt us helps us instead. Chancellor Vextar approached them from the diplomatic wing. The tall Valerian leader looked much more relaxed than he had 6 months ago. His sharp features had softened, and he moved with the confidence of someone who no longer feared his guests. Ambassador Kyung-ho, he said in carefully practiced human languages, I bring good news from the High Council. What news, Chancellor? The Valerian Confederation has voted to establish permanent research stations in human space. We want to study more worlds like Earth to understand how life develops under extreme conditions. Kyung-ho smiled. That is wonderful news. Human space agencies will be delighted to cooperate. We have always been curious about how life develops on different types of worlds. There is more, Vextar continued. Our military forces are being restructured. Instead of developing biological weapons, we are focusing on defensive technologies and exploration equipment. That represents a significant change in Valerian policy, Sunja observed. Yes, we realize that our traditional approaches to galactic politics were based on false assumptions. We assumed that all species could be intimidated or controlled through environmental warfare. Humans taught us that cooperation produces better results than conflict. Dr. Haywan checked her communication device. Ambassador, Captain Ju-hyuk is requesting permission to dock. The Resilience is returning from the joint exploration mission with the Valerian research vessel Discovery. How did that mission proceed? Vextar asked. Very well, according to preliminary reports. The human and Valerian crews worked together to survey 3 new star systems. They found two worlds that might be suitable for Valerian colonization, and one that humans could terraform. Shared exploration missions, Vextar said thoughtfully. 6 months ago, I would have considered that impossible. Why? Kyung-ho asked. Because we thought humans were enemies to be destroyed. We never considered that you might be partners who could help us achieve our goals. Sunja received an update from the communications center. Ambassador, we have a message from Earth. The United Nations wants to invite Valerian representatives to attend the next Galactic Development Summit. That is a significant honor, Kyung-ho said. The summit includes representatives from 47 different species. Vextar looked surprised. You want Valerians to participate in interspecies cooperation at the highest levels? Chancellor, the Valerian Confederation has become one of humanity's most trusted partners. Your scientific contributions to joint research projects have been invaluable. Your people deserve recognition for that achievement. Even though we tried to assassinate you? Kyung-ho laughed. Especially because you tried to assassinate me. That failed attempt taught both our species important lessons about biology, psychology, and diplomacy. Dr. Haiwan pulled up displays showing the latest research results. Chancellor, human medical science has advanced significantly because of Valerian compounds. Valerian biotechnology has improved dramatically because of human biological insights. Neither species would have made these discoveries working alone. The attempted assassination accidentally created the most productive scientific partnership in recent galactic history, Sunja added. Vextar shook his head in amazement. Humans truly are unlike any other species. You turn every problem into an opportunity. That is how we survived on Earth, Kyung-ho explained. When faced with ice ages, we learned to use fire and build shelters. When faced with predators, we learn to make tools and hunt in groups. When faced with poisons, we learn to process them as medicine. Adaptation is our primary survival strategy. And now you have taught us that adaptation, Vextar said. The Valerian Confederation is stronger today because we learned to adapt our thinking about humans. Captain Ju Hyuk entered the garden, having just arrived from the docking bay. Ambassador, the joint exploration mission was a complete success. The human and Valerian crews worked together so effectively that both governments want to fund expanded exploration programs. Any interesting discoveries? Dr. Haiwan asked. We